First off, thank you for having me over. My name is Seshan Krishnamurti. I'm the Vice President for Sales for Africa region for Covalense Digital Solutions. I'm a professional within the telecoms industry. Overall, the last 38 years or so in the IT industry, of which the past 20 plus have been in telecoms in Africa, focusing on different aspects of the business, systems, OSS, BSS, products, organization redesign, regulatory, and so forth. Different aspects of the business is where I have been involved in, working across different companies and different engagements, both as consultant and as advisor, as an employee. So that's a little bit of my background. What I have done, of course, is and part of this journey, seeing the kind of implications that systems have on corporations, their customers within this industry sector. And I'm hoping to, as part of my journey with Covalense, share some of that experience that will help the transformation journey for our customers. See, when you look at the business and the nature of change that has affected industries, telecoms operators, service providers over the world, we're all converging on the word digital. Now, this digital business means different things to different peoples, but in the context of MVNOs, what it really means is we've got to be able to kind of take a completely different journey from just staying with connectivity-based services, as was historically the case. Now, when you go for this kind of change, you have to take a dipstick approach. Now, what does a dipstick mean? You kind of take a test the water, put a stick in, see what the response is, and based on the particular feedback that comes from the market, you've got to be able to adjust your responses accordingly. It's not a traditional plan, long horizon plan, everything goes according to plan, and minor changes occur along the way. Now, where does SaaS come into the picture in this kind of a context? In any time of change, especially rapid change, direction, velocity, etc., the systems need to be able to support the businesses in adapting to that change, responding to that change, and in certain cases, even anticipating that change. Now, why is SaaS then a particular approach to this particular model? Because it allows you to take a componentized approach where I, as an MVNO, as a service provider, I take components that I think are relevant for me as I test the waters, go forward, and as things change, I'm able to make the appropriate adjustments. That's where SaaS starts coming into play in the adjustment that it allows, and with a kind of a minimum viable product approach and flexibility and scalability. Now, the other part is the validation of the business model. If an MVNO plans on a particular target or a particular route, goes along that journey, and then decides that the business model needs to change a bit, tweak a bit, then the SaaS solutions are able to allow the MVNO to change that business model, because that validation is key before you commit too much. Whereas in the traditional role, in the traditional way, this was not possible. You had to commit too much upfront. So SaaS provides that flexibility for even MVNOs to test and validate their business models. See, one important part of the change that we are dealing with in the industry is the movement away from traditional ideas of supply chains to modern ideas of ecosystems. Now, what that actually means is the nature of collaboration, integrated operations, integrated data, data sharing between companies. All of these are critical in the ability of organizations that serve customers to be able to put together offers quickly to the market, to be able to execute on those orders. Now, for this to happen, systems need to be integrated, data needs to be integrated, all in the context of security. Now, in the traditional world of systems integration and applications, this is complex enough as a scenario within an enterprise when you had to tie multiple systems together because of proprietary interfaces, proprietary connections, protocols, etc. Now, in the modern era, the idea of open APIs, which allow a published set of specifications to be consumed by third parties, whether they are your customers, whether they are your partners, whether they are just general suppliers, all of these can participate in an integrated ecosystem by being able to consume the APIs that the service provider or the platform publishes. Now, because these are open and standards-based, they make it easier for systems and platforms to talk to each other, and reasonably well-governed. Of course, each organization will have its own securities and controls, but they're that much more well-governed and easier to integrate. Now, what this then brings is the kind of what we call an integrated platform as a service, because the service itself then becomes a part of the SaaS ecosystem, except that it focuses on integration. What you're doing really now is creating a consolidated value fabric and not just a value chain. Now, what this allows an MVNO to do is to start with a minimum viable product. I spoke about it earlier about scaling and adjusting and market responses. What it allows the MVNO to do is to start with a minimum viable product or an MVP, and then quickly scale by adding on other offerings, because the integration is therefore much simpler. Whether it's from a functional point of view within their operations or value-added offerings from third-party partners, the MVNO is able to adjust quickly and through the means of open APIs, come onto their platforms, allow partners and customers to come onto their platforms, and therefore enabling the adoption of SaaS, and it becomes a virtuous cycle where they're able to continue to scale and grow. Now, this kind of third-party integration through published standards is where open APIs are a critical component of the SaaS revolution. Now, if you look at the MVNO's context today, the kind of needs and the opportunities they are facing in terms of the market, they need capabilities that typically in the traditional world only the major telcos could afford. By making all of these solutions and capabilities available in a componentized form, in a consumable form, as a SaaS, what Csmart first does, it levels the playing field. It allows an MVNO to enter the market in almost even terms with a major telco in terms of systems capabilities. So the MVNO can onboard customers, produce products, have marketplaces, be able to sell different kind of value propositions, and compete in a market in a new era of digital services in relatively even terms with a major telco. In fact, in some cases, even better terms, because they don't have the history of legacy. So number one, it levels the playing field. Number two, what the platform does, it allows the MVNO not to grow in terms of their business, where the system matches that kind of growth. So what would typically happen is, instead of having to have a complex system upfront to cater to all kinds of potential scenarios, the MVNO goes in initially with a small footprint and then pays as they grow. What do I mean by pay as you grow? There are two kinds of growth. One is when you grow in volume of business, so the scalability of the system at the technical level. The other is the functional capability of the system that deals with different kinds of demand coming from the market, changing from consumer to business to different kinds of market scenarios, personalization to different segments. So that functional capability grows. The ability to analyze what's going on in the market grows. That's one kind of growth. And you can buy these capabilities as your business grows. So that pay as you grow is the second element. Now, the third part is the analysis and crafting experiences that are typically not possible by traditional legacy systems. That's something that the world of new digital services demands. So by coming into the area of creating that customer digital experience analysis, etc., in terms of AI and customer 360-degree view, what Csmart allows is the MVNO to have a laser focus on the customer. How does that customer buy? Why do they buy? How do they use it? And how does that customer continue to engage with me as an MVNO? This kind of insight is absolutely critical for an MVNO to grow their business. Now, if I summarize those 3 points, how we enable MVNOs, we level the playing field, we make sure that you're able to consume the product in a limited way and pay as you grow, and the third part is unparalleled insight into your customer. With absolute certainty, definitely. Now, why do I say that with such certainty? The fact remains that Csmart has 21 different app components or different apps within its portfolio. Now, when you say an MVNO with legacy or existing systems, the fact is it's never a choice between throw out everything that you have and buy everything new, or just keep tinkering with your existing system until it's souped up to meet the new world. It's never going to be that way. An existing business and MVNO has customers, has data, has processes, which means that they need to be able to start looking at plugging the gaps. they have. Now, one area that we can definitely talk about, where an existing MVNO can look at taking advantage of a platform like Csmart, is the marketplace. In the digital world, the change has come, as I said, from supply chains to ecosystems. Today, the market demands different responses at different times in different components. So an existing MVNO can look at saying, my customers behave in a particular way. They need certain things. I know them well enough. What kind of value propositions can I bring in from behind me with solution partners that I can then bundle, aggregate, and serve my customer effectively? So that brings in the concept of a marketplace. Now, that marketplace is something that is part of our Csmart ecosystem as a SaaS offering, which then the existing MVNO can consume on a SaaS model. The third part related to Csmart enabling a legacy, I say legacy because they have existing systems. The third way we can do it is, again, coming back to the customer. Now, more and more, the emphasis is no matter how streamlined your operations, you're going to pay very close attention to your customer. User behavior, spend behavior, the network usage behavior. What kind of patterns are the customer reflecting in the data that comes out of the network, out of the systems? Now, by using our customer value management capabilities, along with our AI capabilities, what an MVNO can do is to look at this picture, this 360-degree view of the customer, and then start focusing on how do I keep customer retention? How do I make sure that this customer engages with me better, substantially longer, and in terms that are of equal value? So there's a new equation, a value to customer, which is VC, equals CLV, or customer lifetime value. So if you want to have the customer lifetime value that is suitable to your business metrics, you need to be, as a service provider, provide the right kind of value to the customer. This is what that customer value management is not just about getting the customer to spend more. It's about understanding what is of value to the customer so the customer spends more. Now, this kind of insight is what our AI platform, as part of Csmart, which is embedded. It allows you to enhance that customer experience and allows you to personalize your offerings to your customer, streamline your operations, and then the retention automatically implies a reduction in churn. Now, these are typically areas, to summarize again, in the area of AI, customer value management, marketplaces, and then pick only the necessary apps from our portfolio that the MVNO needs to plug in their existing capabilities. So this would be a kind of a high-level summary where Csmart can enable the traditional MVNOs with existing system investments to take advantage of the platform.